It's another episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. And, man, we got to talk about these players that have absolutely stepped up over the last couple of games, man, whether it be San Francisco, whether it be versus the Arizona Cardinals. There have been some players that have stood up, stepped up, and stood out. But we also got to get into the bubble players, the ones that are going to be on the bubble. We're less than a week away. And finally, do we have some tradable assets on the Denver Broncos roster as, you know, the cut line comes? Well, we need to get into all that. We're going to get started. Oh, right about now. Welcome. It's the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, man. What a fantastic episode. We even have a surprise co-host this evening. So I'm going to get started with him. My name is Keith Brugman. Can't wait to get started talking about this roster, man. We're less than a week away from being cut down from 91 players down to 53. We're going to talk to the guy who's in the dark corner all of a sudden, Mr. Trevor Rocketman Salzman. How's it going, Trevor?
Yeah, my light just decided to, just kind of take a crap right now. So it's going to be awesome. I'll fix that in a minute. But
I think it looks cool, man. I like this, man. I like this. You should roll with this.
DVR after dark. I don't know. Maybe.
I love it. Love it.
But great to be here, and great to be here alongside you guys as well, and everybody in the posse. Hope everybody's having a great evening.
Man, how could they not, man? This Denver Broncos team, what they've shown so far, what the expectations are, what Sean Payton's talking about, and we got Kenny Kirkpatrick along for the ride to talk about it all as well. Kenny, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing good. I think my good friend Michael Briggsy, rest in peace, passed away a few years ago. I think he's hanging out with us tonight and playing jokes on us because that's what he used to like to do. My internet's been a little choppy. Trevor's got lights going out. Briggs, I know you're watching, diehard Bronco fan, biggest on the East Coast. Enjoy the show, my friend. I think you're with us tonight.
I love it, man. It's been a long time since I've heard the Briggsy name come about, man. And though I never got to experience him, sounds like one of the funnest guys you could ever hang with and one of the biggest Bronco fans there ever was, man. Hats off to Briggsy. May my lights go out, buddy. May my lights go out.
Speaking of lights going out, our good friend Michael Ronquillo sending $100. Friend Michael Ronquillo.
Man, keeping the stars or keeping the lights on, man. I mean, maybe he's going to get. I expect Trevor's lights to go bam right back on right about now because of Michael Ronquillo keeping the lights on and keeping us rocking, man. This week, man, I saw and I sent out a post about some of our biggest supporters. Trevor's going to take just a moment and he's going to see if he can fix his lighting. See if Michael's going to turn back on the lights for him. But no, Michael Ronquillo has been a huge supporter of ours and got a little bit of recognition today, man, or this week, man. I appreciate you, Michael Ronquillo. My guess is, and I got to get over, man, because I've got to jump all over the place. Phil McLaughlin's coming in. He's been a huge supporter of us as well. Good evening, Phil. Keith and Kenny and Rocket Man. How many wide receivers are we keeping? My guess is I see the lights on in Trevor's room. Maybe he'll be joining us again here shortly. Phil's always been a great supporter. I want to get to Phil's question because honestly, Kenny, I know of at least one wide receiver that hugely elevated himself in my eyes on this roster over the last two games. So I know one is going to be locked in that, well, was probably already locked in already, but I'm just saying this room is getting competitive It's good. And how many do you end up keeping when it's all said and done?
Man, I'm writing them down, Keith. I think you're going to keep 6 on the main roster. You might even have 1 or 2 on the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to name them, or you want to hold off on the names?
No. We can do numbers right now, and we can get into names here in a little bit, because I think you're right about there. Last year we kept 5 wide receivers on the 53-man roster. Kenny's predicting 6. I've seen a lot of predictions for 6. And I think part of that, and we need to keep this into account, is the fact that we went from special teams specialist Tremon Smith last year to special teams specialist Trent Sherfield this year. Tremon Smith was a cornerback. This year we have a wide receiver. I think Trent Sherfield does probably tip the tables in favor of 6 rather than 5. But Trevor, welcome back. Your lighting's looking beautiful, and I would like to get your beautiful answer on this one. How many wide receivers do we keep on this roster? That's what Phil's coming in asking.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, Keith, you did ask for more lights on, and Michael sending stars. It just come right back on. So, but as far as keeping wide receivers wise, I mean, I think they end up keeping 6. There's a couple guys that maybe you give value for, but I don't think it's going to be enough for, and we'll get into names here in a little bit. I know, like as you just said, but I just don't think you're going to get the value for some of these guys. As if you're going to put them on the trade block, it's not like you're going to get a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick for these guys. And
no.
So, and a lot of these guys are going to be under contract and cheap deals. And so I think that you keep these guys around for depth, because you never know when you're going to need more depth in that wide receiver room. I think Kenny was right when he said earlier, I think they end up keeping 6.
6 as well. I think we're 6 all the way around. Like I said, for me, it was the Trent Sherfield that, shift over that's going to push us over to 6. I think Trent Sherfield is going to end up being a lock. But 100 stars from Phil McLaughlin, and sure do appreciate everyone that's out there liking, sharing, subscribing. These are all the free things you guys can do. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure that you're hitting your notification button to make sure that we're going live. All free and super cool things to do. If you're cool like Phil, you can drop some stars every now and again and shut off the lights on Trevor. Trevor, just jump back in here. It's all good, buddy. I promise, man. Trevor, come back.
You can see it, Trevor. I do have 100 more stars from Michael. I just wanted to get that comment out, Keith, real quick. Next Tuesday is cut day for the Broncos to get to the Broncos 53-man roster with another 100 stars. Thank you so much, Michael. We really, truly appreciate it. Everybody's friend, Michael Ronquillo.
You're right, man. Everybody's friend, Michael Ronquillo. This is why we're talking about what we're talking about this evening. We're less than a week away. Our next podcast is most likely going to be more of a preview of what we have going down to New Orleans and seeing what they have going on, but and previewing that game and getting into the dirty details, I guess you could say there. But less than a week from now, because at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, the Denver Broncos next Tuesday have to have their 53-man roster submitted to the NFL offices. Kenny and Trevor, when he gets here, I got to start talking about really the players that have stepped up over these last 2 games, because there have been some players that have stepped up and stood out and probably elevated themselves or put themselves in a position where coaches and GMs don't know if they can necessarily just throw them onto the practice squad and call it good. I got to say, though, before you get into that, I got to say hello to a friend that I haven't seen in a while. And it's Karen over on YouTube. Hello, all. I went to the game Saturday. So much fun for a preseason game. Oh, my goodness. Karen, that game looked like it was off the hook from the very beginning. From what Evan Ingram did to the entire team, Jarrett Stidham. I mean, you have a poster right behind me. 7-27 win. It was a good game. Hope you enjoyed the heck out of it. I hope that Trevor is able to join us. But Kenny, I want to get into some of these players that stood out for you over the last couple of games that maybe position themselves differently on this roster? Stidham looked good, by the way, Karen says. So
I'll go right there because I see a new name. And hello, Karen. Good to see you. Great to see you back with us. There's a new name I'm not familiar with, but you may be, Keith. I'm not sure. Josh Matson. How many teams does Stidham start for if he's not our backup? He looked good. I will say he would start on the Indianapolis Colts with Daniel Jones and Josh Richardson over there. So that's one team I would definitely say there, Josh. And welcome to the show. Hopefully, hope you like what we're doing here. I'm going to say Josh Stidham's impressed me. I know he's listed as the backup quarterback, obviously, with Bo Nix there. I would not trade him because if you do, it's a long season. If Bo Nix is banged up 1 or 2 games, I got all the confidence in the world, no matter who the Broncos are playing, that Stidham can handle it and bring the Broncos a win. 16 for 23 last week. I double-checked his stats. 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. The guy looks like a veteran starter, not a veteran backup. I think he has impressed me in this preseason, and I'm ecstatic that he's our backup quarterback going in because I feel comfortable if Bo Nix couldn't go for a game or 2, Stidham would handle the reins perfect.
You got a little bit of Josh on the brain, man. You had a Josh Richardson in there. You also had a Josh Stidham in there. But Graham got you all sorted, man. You're all set to go.
I'm all messed up because of this internet. I appreciate it. No, definitely appreciate the teasing, but thank you for the name corrections there. Anthony Richardson and Stidham for sure.
Jarrett Stidham, yes. Karen, check this out, man. If there's not a better place to be, South Stands, 13th row. We got to do a placard during the placard thing that says "We will rock you." So they probably hand them a little a placard out there. So if they were caught on television, that'd be awesome. Karen, glad you had a fantastic time at the game. What a fantastic game. One of 2, Trevor, that we're kind of talking about here, and wanted to get into those who kind of stood out over the last couple of games and put themselves in a better position on this 53-man roster, as roster cuts just less than 7 days away now. We're 2 p.m. next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think Jarrett Stidham's definitely one. I think that's what you guys were talking about a little bit earlier. I think he's helped this case to not just stay on this roster because I thought he's always going to stay on this roster, but just kind of solidifying that backup quarterback for this team and being able to be there for Bo Nix if something would happen. So, I mean, I think Jarrett Stidham is definitely one of them. I think Troy Franklin too. Honestly, there's a lot of question marks about Troy Franklin coming into this season. Was he going to be the guy to step up? I think he has been. I mean, I think there's more to come for Troy Franklin. I think he's got one of the highest upsides in this wide receiver room. He doesn't get talked about, I don't think, enough. I know we talk about Pat Bryant and whatnot, but Troy Franklin, the steps he's taken into the right direction, I think he's really solidified himself on this roster, and he don't have to play special teams. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to see the field a little bit more than what people may think he might see the field.
I agree, man. Troy Franklin was number 1 on my list. This guy from last year to what he's shown in preseason this year has been the biggest jump. Mm-hmm. He's in place on his routes. He understands and is diagnosing the defenses on the same page as his quarterback. He's not dropping passes. No. He's making contested catches. Troy Franklin has absolutely rocketed up this depth chart for me. You know, I don't know if he was ever going to be a cut candidate. I'm not saying that, but man, talk about a guy who's absolutely solidified himself on this roster. I'm going to go Troy Franklin, hands down. Kenny, I know that we talked a little bit about Jarrett Stidham because the posse was all about it, and Jarrett Stidham looked amazing. Honestly, makes me question once Bo Nix goes out there, how many people will have concerns after we saw a couple of Jarrett Stidham performances. That being said, We'll put Jarrett Stidham to the side. We'll move along to another one. Who else you got that you really liked out there on the field over the last couple of games?
I do have one, and I've been hard on the rookies. I've been very hard on the rookies, but Pat Bryant has showed me, especially against the Cardinals, 4 receptions, 70 yards, almost 18 a carry, a reception rather. Out of all the rookies, I think he stood out the most for me, including R.J. Harvey, and you can argue Jahdae Barron, but Pat Bryant has seen the most playing time, and thinks he's going to be solidified as a solid backup to start the season. Maybe as the season progresses, couple games in, he turns into that starting role. But him and Franklin are going to be battling, I think, for wide receiver 3 and wide receiver 4 on this team.
There you are, man. I'm going to keep going around the horn. Trevor, if you don't have a name, I certainly have one, because there's been a few standouts over the last couple of games, big victories for the Denver Broncos. Like to see that in preseason, especially when we're not necessarily playing our first in this last game versus the Arizona Cardinals. So a standout for you. Do you have one?
I'm going to say Evan Ingram. I think this is the guy that I know we talk about, kind of hype him up a little bit. But again, this is a guy that a couple years ago in Jacksonville, damn near almost had a 1,000-yard season and was a big part of that offense. I think he just went out there, and Sean Payton threw him out there. Most people were surprised he even played, with the backups. And he went out there and he just stood out, above and beyond and above everybody else. So Evan Ingram, for me, just his explosiveness, a way to break tackles. I mean, he almost broke that for a touchdown. I don't think a lot of people know that how close he was to breaking that for a big time touchdown. And he just that one big play that he had, though, I think really solidified just what the Denver Broncos could possibly be getting this season if he can stay healthy.
Wasn't that just like, I mean, it just seemed like it was something that we hadn't seen in I don't know how long. It seemed like it had been since I seen Shannon Sharp cutting up the field like that, cutting across the middle, stabbing that ball out of the air, turning the corner, lining up the blocks. Even Evan Ingram says I should have taken that for a touchdown. And that's the type of, I don't know, positivity or, just overall competitiveness that you want to see from a football player. Great play, wanted more. Evan Ingram was one guy that I know I talked about and that I'd like to see something in this next game. And then he ended up making it one play and saying, thank you, good night, everybody, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? That was it. That was the end of it. Yeah, that's all it took. And I loved it. I loved seeing what Evan Ingram was capable of. Good call out there. I'm going to go on the defensive side. By the way, I got to get into the posse. Posse, you guys are amazing. Clayton coming in here, also saying, hey, guys, reminding us to smash that like and share button. Appreciate you so much, Clayton. You guys are blowing up in the comments. Michael Ronquillo, just because I noticed a couple of names. Wide receiver Troy Franklin in the way of tight end Evan Ingram getting a touchdown against the Arizona Cardinals. He thinks he was in the way of getting it. I don't know, man. He kind of threw that little side block, but I'll say this: no block, no rock. Pat Bryant out there pushing his guy completely off the field in order to get Evan Ingram further down the field. I like that. That's the type of team play that we need to see. If we don't give a little bit of love on the defensive side, I think it would be doing a disservice, right? And I'll be honest, all of a sudden I'm blanking the name, gentlemen. Help me out here. The pass rusher then went wild. Jonah Ellis. Jonah Ellis. I'm sorry, man. All of a sudden I was like, I could see his face. I could see him on the sidelines after he was celebrating with all his teammates after an incredible game 2 versus the Arizona Cardinals. Jonah Ellis, we've been waiting for. There's been injuries. There's been moving around of positions. And Jonah Ellis last Saturday looked absolutely on point. just blowing up plays, being in, just locked in this game. I loved what Jonah Elliss put on tape for a guy that in this offseason, in this preseason, if he would have went the opposite direction, we would have been talking in maybe an opposite direction for the roster bubble. For Jonah Elliss, I think he had a absolutely fantastic game. Yeah, Ernie Mays coming in here. Ernie, thank you for always supporting us. Saying Elliss stepped up too, man. Absolutely, man. So that's the one from me, gentlemen. I think that Jonah Elliss really put himself on the map, especially in a tough room to do so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good one, Keith. One more hello, Keith. We forgot Patrick, so let's say aloha to our good friend Patrick out there in Hawaii, saying aloha, gentlemen. Aloha, boys. Aloha, Patrick. Hope all's well out there in Hawaii with Lion Coffee taking care of us over here at Rocky Mountain Sports Network.
Oh, boy. Like you wouldn't believe, man. I've been burning the candles at both ends, and I don't know if that wouldn't be possible without Lion Coffee, man. I've said it before, unofficial sponsor, but I'm telling you what, man, if you are a coffee lover and you've never had Lion Coffee, dang, you're missing out. Check out lioncoffee.com. That's all more I got to say on that. Keith, aloha, Patrick, and I appreciate you chiming in, man. Let's talk some football, my friend.
Yeah, well, just real quick, and again, Patrick, thank you for everything you do. Amazing coffee, like everybody said. But a name that I want to throw out there that it's kind of getting talked about, but not really. And he's on the offense side of the ball. I'll stick to the offense. Is Caden Prieskorn. I mean, this tight end. I mean, for me, I think he's giving Caleb Lohner a run for his money. Caleb Lohner, we haven't really seen do much at all. And to me, the more and more I go back and watch film, I don't know that I want Caleb Lohner to make this 53-man roster right now. He just so much rawness. And yes, I understand the upside and the size in him. I get that. But, I mean, you see just how raw he is at the position. You got to ask yourself, if something would happen to Evan Ingram, can you put Caleb Lohner out on the field, or is he just taking up another roster spot? And I get they had the whole Frank Crum thing last year, but, again, you got to see more. And Caleb Lohner really needs to have a good Game 3 if he wants to be able to make this 53-man roster and show the upside that the Denver Broncos want to see from him. But I mean, just what Prieskorn has been able to do, I think this preseason, I think is pretty impressive. And he went out there and he's balled. And yes, is he going to maybe have the upside of Caleb Lohner? Possibly not. But I think he's going to give you a really solid floor out there. He's a willing blocker, and he's a guy that has shown some receiving skills out there, can really push for roster spot, I think, on this roster. I really like Prieskorn, what he's been able to do so far for the Denver Broncos.
Are you okay with this one, though? Michael Ronquillo, tight end, Caden Prieskorn fumbled the football before the end zone against the Arizona Cardinals.
But, again, he's making plays. Where's Caleb Lohner? Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, it's going to happen. Yeah, he's 25 years old. And he's 6'5". He's big body tight end, but he's making plays. I mean, Caleb Lohner he's kind of like in middle of nowhere right now. There's really nothing to really can't show anything on the field as far as a game perspective. Maybe practice-wise, it's a different situation, but on the game-wise, game film, it's not looking great for Caleb Lohner. I hope he does play well Game 3. He really needs to. But Prieskorn, at least he's going out there and trying to make plays that fumble. I think he'll learn from that. You could tell he was frustrated with himself after it happened, and you could tell some of those players rallied behind this guy and was able to kind of give him a talk. And Prieskorn just has really caught my eye over the last couple games, and he's a guy that to keep an eye on to possibly make this 53-man roster.
I got to give the mic to Kenny K, man. I think he's gonna come through and choke me or Trevor if we don't. I'm just kidding.
I love it.
Kenny, you seemed adamant about this topic, man. I'm gonna give you the mic, buddy.
Love it. Trevor stole my thunder, and I love it. I love that you stole my thunder because we're thinking alike. I mean, I saw the game too. I said last week, Caleb Lohner, we're going to get into it in a few minutes. Caleb Lohner has to make the team because this is what people were saying. It has to make the team because of he's going to get eaten up off the practice squad. Let him. If Prieskorn's doing better than Caleb Lohner, I want Prieskorn in there. Prieskorn had 3 catches, 52 yards. Michael said he had a fumble, but he's getting open. He's making plays, like Trevor said. Week 1 preseason, he caught a touchdown. We're not seeing that from Lucas Krull. We're not seeing that from Adam Troutman. Troutman's the blocking tight end, but we're not seeing that from Lucas Kroll or Caleb Lohner. If Prescorn's making plays, let him be the backup tight end. Just because he wasn't drafted doesn't mean it doesn't work. Look in the past, undrafted tight ends for the Broncos. Just saying, Broncos always do well in the undrafted players. Prescorn might be that guy this year. Give him that shot.
I'm telling you, man, he's looking pretty good out there, man. And he's been impressing, and he's been coming down with catches. And yes, a fumble is a fumble, but at the same time, great learning experience. He knew that he did wrong. I love how Trevor kind of pointed out that the teammates kind of rallied around him. I think that speaks a lot, not only about him, but also about this team and the mindset that they have for themselves, for the good of one, I guess is the best way to put it. You know what I mean? I think that we have that. And that also brings me to this, man. Graham's coming in here, and prayers to Nick Gargiulo. And I'm probably messing up that name a little bit, but by the way, hate injuries. That was tough, man. I was so glad when they cut away from his injury, because this poor guy was not he was not without pain. Let's just put it that way. Or at least not without frustration or without disappointment, because the reaction that he had on the field, we all found out now he's torn ACL. He's out for the year. And I think Paul comes in here. He says, yes, Gargiulo was pushing Powers for starting. I don't know how much he was pushing Powers for starting, but I can tell you he was absolutely going to be a key piece on this Denver Broncos team. I had him making the 53, and being a participant. I think that he has a future in front of him once he gets this all taken care of, but it was tough to watch, man. Trevor, any other thoughts on that at all?
Yeah, I mean, just gut punching. I mean, this is a guy that's really worked his way up. He was a 7th round draft pick in 2024. I remember when the Broncos drafted him, actually, and he just started working his way up onto this roster and is really pushing to make this roster. Like guys like Calvin Throckmorton and a lot of those guys come to mind. And that wasn't going to start, obviously, but good depth. You need depth on that offensive line. But Gargiulo, I mean, just our thoughts and prayers are with him, and hopefully he gets back and recovers fully, because he was, and is, I think, going to be a part of this team one way or another down the line. Hopefully that injury doesn't stall him for too long.
Yeah. Prayers go out to him, man. Prayers go out to him. Kenny, I'm going to hold off on you for just a second, man. This is a weird transition, man, but talk about someone you just rely on, someone that's always in the background and always supporting us as the main line cast. I got to talk about Pearl. She was in here earlier, in her amazing company, Morgan Trinkets. They've been an amazing sponsor of ours for, I got to count it up more. We got to figure it out, Pearl. How many months, how many years you've been helping us out? Seems like it's been forever, but they've been around for over 34 years doing Southwest jewelry, Southwest pottery, and estate gold at wholesale prices. Once a nationwide company, now they just hang out in your backyard, northern Colorado, southern Wyoming, doing shows left and right. I'm telling you what, if there's a fairgrounds, if there's a gem show, if there's a dog show, you'll probably find them there. But don't worry, if you can't find Morgan Trinkets at your local fairgrounds or whatever she has going on, you can always head over to Etsy and type in Morgan Trinkets Co. And there you are. You have everything that the Pearl has to offer, including, I didn't mention it before, silver, sterling silver, 100% sterling silver. She offers that as well. All orders over $50 are shipped absolutely free. All major credit cards are accepted. Check out Morgan Trinkets. I've never had a complaint, only positivity about all the amazing products that they have and the amazing customer service as well. Check out Morgan Trinkets Co. today over on Etsy, or like I said, if you're in that northern Colorado, southern Wyoming area, maybe they're at a fairgrounds or local gem show or whatever happens to be right around the corner. Appreciate y'all. Next show is Red Feather Lakes, Labor Day weekend. So you got plenty of time to head on over to Etsy and sell her out before she ever gets to Labor Day. You know, it's only a couple weeks away, but sell her out, everybody. She has nothing to take to the show. That's what I want to see. I know. I appreciate you, Pearl. Hopefully you have a great show up there as well.
That sounds like a fun place, Labor Day weekend. I'm not familiar with it, but Red Feather Lakes. It just sounds like a fun place to be. So everybody go check out Red Feather Lakes Labor Day weekend. Hang out with Pearl and whoever's there. If I was closer, I would definitely go check it out.
Absolutely, man. It does sound like a fantastic place, man. A fantastic place not to be, gentlemen, is on the Bumble. I gotta give Graham just a little bit of love because, well, he's given me a little bit of love if I can find it. I did drop an article today, and if I see Graham's comment, maybe I'll drop that. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop the link because I think the Broncos are in a pretty unique spot, gentlemen. The Denver Broncos have finally elevated themselves to a place where I think some tough decisions are going to have to be made when it comes to the 53-man roster. I think in years past, we went through this exercise and tried to figure out who is going to be there and who's going to be gone. And maybe a Tim Patrick is a surprise. But outside of that, you know, it's a pretty easy test to try to ace. This year, there's going to be some talent, I think, that's going to be walking out the door that's going to be tough to see. That maybe we would like to see have gotten developed more or never got the chance really to see on the field or maybe just needed one more year, we felt. It's everything that Sean Payton worries about, letting good talent walk out the door onto another team. Kenny, I'll start with you. Roster bubble candidates, man. Give me one, man, that's going to hurt if it goes the wrong way. This gentleman doesn't make the 53-man roster and he's exposed to the waiver wire before he can maybe possibly make the practice squad.
We just mentioned it. Tight end, Caleb Lohner. Caleb Lohner, pre-scoring, crawl. It's a heavy tight end room. It's not a strong tight end room after Ingram, but there's a lot of players there fighting for those bubble spots. Caleb Lohner, a project, maybe gone wrong. He's not going to be on the 53-man roster. That doesn't mean he might not be on the practice squad, but he's definitely not going to be on the 53-man roster come week 1 versus Tennessee. Caleb Lohner on the practice squad or somewhere else.
There you go, man. On my list, yeah, I do have a Caleb Lohner. And, I mean, it was mentioned a little bit earlier from the posse in the comments. Penalties alone has hurt Caleb Lohner in this last preseason game, let alone his production on the field. Caleb Lohner is a guy that probably can be exposed to the waiver wire and still end up on your 53-man roster. So I think that's a good call out, but one that maybe we didn't expect right off the bat. You're always thinking those guys that come out of your draft pool maybe have an opportunity, and Caleb Lohner being that undrafted free agent undrafted free agent possibility. That's or was he drafted?
Seventh round.
Seventh round. Pre-scoring was the undrafted guy.
That's right. That's right. Sorry, so late I almost forgot. But late round draft pick that was trying to make the roster, or is still trying to make the roster. We'll see what he has to prove out in New Orleans. Head over to Trevor, the Rocket Man. You got one for me as well?
For me, it's Tyler Bede. I mean, this is a guy who would hurt. He would hurt if he didn't make the roster. Some say, well, you can sneak him through practice squad. I don't know about that. I mean, Tyler Bede, I think, has shown quite a bit in this running back room. And we have to mention this, Keith, and we might have before, but J.K. Dobbins hasn't played a full season. I mean, so your RB3 is going to be relied upon a little bit more. And it's important that they find the right guy. I think Jaleel McLaughlin makes his team too. I think Tyler Bede and Jaleel McLaughlin are going to fight to be RB3. I think those are the two guys that probably, as of right now, make this roster. But Tyler Bede, I think, has shown enough to make this roster. And I think he would be a solid RB3 for you. I don't think the Broncos can sneak Tyler Bidet to the practice squad and still be able to keep him. I think another team would claim Tyler Bidet. He's got regular season experience. He's got regular season carries. Just needs a little bit more of an opportunity. Real well-rounded as far as a running back. Obviously got receiving skills out of the backfield, but also can be relied upon to be a good pass blocker as well, something Sean Payton really values in this offense. So Tyler Bidet would hurt if this team ended up releasing him, because I don't think that he'd be back and pass through waivers.
I agree, man. That's a good call out, man. One that's going to be a little bit tougher to still see with this Denver Broncos team, Tyler Bidet, maybe than a Caleb Lohner. I think that, like, again, once you expose him to the waiver wires, I still think you have a pretty good possibility of keeping him on a practice squad. But Tyler Bidet, he's shown a little bit and enough. And in a running back thirsty league, Tyler Bidet could be one of those guys that absolutely gets swallowed up and not end up on the practice squad for the Denver Broncos. I see Phil's comment, and it's going to segue into a segment that we have a little bit later about maybe tradable prospects. I'm going to put a name out there on the roster bubble right now, though, that could change based upon maybe a tradable prospect. Yoma Owazurike, I think, is a potential non-53-man roster candidate. And I think that says a little bit of something, because this Denver Broncos team has stuck with him for more than other teams that dealt with a player who was in a gambling fiasco of a situation. Owazurike was highly coveted, and I think as a quality player that you would have a hard time getting back onto that practice squad as well. I think there would be plenty of potential teams that might swoop in. But at the same time, because of the competition, and I know that Trevor, you'd like more competition on that defensive line, but because of the competition, I'm worried about Owazurike making the 53-man roster. That's going to be one of my hot takes. We'll get to Phil's hot takes, one of Phil's hot takes here in a little bit when we talk about tradable assets here. Phil, I appreciate you dropping a little bit of info there, and I'll get to it, I promise, in just a little bit.
And Keith, just to add to your point a little bit, I am also concerned about Owazurike making this roster. Remember, a former fourth round draft pick by George Payton, I believe 22 class. I think that's what class he was a part of. But just really hasn't panned out for this team. And that would really hurt this team. And I agree with you. I think a team would really take a chance on his upside, and just his size, 320 pounds. I mean, that's the kind of guy you would want on your defensive line. And there's a couple guys on the Broncos roster right now that are pushing. I mean, Jordan Jackson, some of these other guys, Jordan Miller, pushing Owazurike to really make this roster. So Owazurike is another guy that really needs to have a good game 3, I think, in order to solidify himself on this 53-man roster.
Yeah. A lot of love coming in. I'm a fan of Tyler Bidet. Karen also coming in. Bidet had a good game, I thought. This is what I'm talking about. And this is what my article that I dropped a little bit earlier was talking about. It becomes tough. It becomes difficult when you're a good team. And the Denver Broncos, because of what Sean Payton has done and came in here and turned this franchise around, there's going to be some good teams. There's going to be some good players on this team, including maybe Tyler Bidet, that doesn't make this roster. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Kenny, I'll go back to you, man. What are your thoughts, man?
I was with you with Owazurike. That was my defensive guy. I do have another guy on offense that I think would surprise everybody. And, if we want, I can mention it now, or if you want to continue with the defense.
Go right ahead, brother.
I'm a little concerned about Devon Vele making this team. I'm looking at last week, and we talked about guys who stood out. We forgot about Trent Sherfield.
Yeah.
Last week had a heck of a touchdown catch. He was brought in to be a special teamer, but not only Trent Sherfield stepping up in the slot there at wide receiver, but Courtney Jackson comes into play. He had that one rush for 30 yards. I'm looking at his stats. He caught 2 for 32. He's a special teamer. If Devon Vele is not contributing on special teams, and Devon Vele with Trent Sherfield and Vele may be the odd man out. And it has me a little concerned that he may not make this team, or we said maybe surprise trade cut candidate, maybe Devon Vele. He has not impressed me at all with Franklin stepping up, and I would say Trent Sherfield stepped up too.
I didn't have it on my original list, but I'll tell you what, I'm right there with you, Kenny. Devon Vele, and this is where maybe we can start transitioning as well. But Devon Vele hasn't. I mean, we got to go back to early last season before we saw, standout premier Devon Vele. I'm talking like first 4 games, and then after that, it seemed like through injury and just through actual, production on the field, we haven't seen a whole lot from Devon Vele. And you're absolutely right, Kenny. There are guys stepping up and nipping at his heels. And that was a question I had in my mind. That tight end room is also one, man, with Caleb Lohner, Lucas Kroll, Prieskorn in there as well. I mean, those are like 3 questions that are really sitting behind, maybe an Evan Ingram and an Adam Troutman that maybe you feel is a little bit more solid in the role that they have on this team, and that the positivity that they get from the coaching as well. You know what I mean? I think those guys are in there. But anyway, I'm right on board with you. Devon Vele, man. This is where I say it's kind of a transition. And Trevor, I'll ask you this. Does Devon Vele have any trade value? After I got done just digging on him, saying he hasn't produced since like week 4 of last year. Yeah. But does Devon Vele, as we kind of transition into maybe tradable assets, and I'm going to go back on, but I'm going to find Phil's comment that he dropped stars on. But Devon Vele, does he have trade value in your mind?
I think he has a little trade value, if any at all. But I kind of disagree with him, Devon Vele, not making this 53-man roster or possibly being traded, because what do you gain out of it truly if you're the Denver Broncos? I mean, maybe a 5th, 6th round pick, if that, and you're getting rid of a young wide receiver. I mean, not like Troy Franklin young, but he's 27 years old, still young. I mean, he's still got plenty of football left in him. He's 6'5". I mean, he's a big body wide receiver. Other than Cortland Sutton, you don't have that on this roster. And he's under contract, under his rookie contract. He's cheap. Not paying him a ton of money. Trent Sherfield, we have to remember, as much as he's getting the spotlight right now on the field as a wide receiver, he's going to be mostly a special teamer. I mean, that's what they brought him in here for. They brought him in here to be that real, that special team guy, that ace on special teams. That's what he was used in Minnesota. They could utilize him a little bit more. Absolutely. And if
that's what they say. That's what I was going to say. That's what they say.
If Devon Vele is off this roster, to me, then it does signal that they're going to use Trent Sherfield a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But again, you got to remember, most of these are backups that Trent Sherfield's going up against. We'll see. I think that he's more of their ace on special teams than anything. That contract that he signed certainly signals that as well. I don't think trading Devon Vele makes a whole ton of sense right now, because you're getting rid of depth and a young guy that can go up and get the ball. We only seen 1 season of Devon Vele. Let's see, not count him out quite yet. Give him a little bit more time to really kind of get acclimated with Bo Nix. It took a little bit of time for Troy Franklin to get there too. These wide receivers have different time periods of when they're ready to go and when they go out there and show what they have.
I agree, man. I agree, man. Well, it's man, it is going. I'm telling you, it's going to be a tough one. I think. We all talked about last year, Tim Patrick. And, oh my gosh, Tim Patrick. My goodness, Tim Patrick's gone. Can't believe that Tim Patrick's gone. There is a list of names. Like I said, whether we had hope for potential, or whether we just thought that they were on the cusp or had that ability. I mean, I think there's going to be some tough ones. I did see that Rodney Garcia, welcome in Rodney Garcia. He says he thinks A.T. Perry and Vele could be potential trade candidates. Might have to package those two together in order to make A.T. Perry have that value. But Phil was the other one. He mentioned, I think it was Alex Singleton. Was it Alex Singleton as well as being a potential trade candidate? I'm going to get back to that quick comment, Phil. Go ahead. Whatever you're going to say, Ken.
Oh, no, go to Phil. And then I wanted to answer Patrick's question rapid fire. Give him a name after we're done with Phil, because it has to do with trade also.
Well, I want to get your thoughts on this. Alex Singleton, then. Alex Singleton as this inside linebacker. Lavelle Bailey's been stepping up. I love what Lavelle Bailey's been able to do. I know that's more outside, but I'm just saying this linebacker position, especially Dre Greenlaw, does that make Alex Singleton all of a sudden expendable and possible tradable?
I like the thought there, Phil, but I'm going to just respectfully, in the nicest way, disagree about Singleton because of your depth at the top being injury prone. If Greenlaw was to get hurt, who takes over as the leader on the defense? It's got to be Singleton. So I think you got to keep Singleton because he's the other veteran starter on this defense. And for that reason alone, and only reason, that's why I keep Singleton, because I got to keep Dre Greenlaw healthy too. And if Greenlaw was to go down, I need a new leader on my defense. I can count on Singleton in my opinion. As for Vele, yeah, we all said I'm down to trade Vele. If you can get a 6th or 7th rounder for him, I'm down to trade Vele and give Sherfield the shot and maybe keep Jackson on the team as your special teamer.
Yeah. Sternad's in there. Kareem Reed has looked good in these couple of preseason games, but you bring up a great question or concern, I guess, Kenny. If Dre Greenlaw goes down, where are you sitting there? It was funny, just a couple of weeks ago, everyone was saying, should we bring Josie Jewell back? I just saw Jonas Griffith out there working out, trying to get his opportunity as well. Former Denver Bronco inside linebacker. That's where we're at. And that's why maybe Singleton, in my opinion, is also not a tradable asset right now, because it was not that long ago that we're all just going, Josie Jewell possibly? Only has a concussion issue possibly, but we can bring him back in. If we're in that position, maybe we shouldn't be letting go of Singleton.
Well, and what value is Singleton going to have right now? That's another question you have to ask. Is it truly worth trading these guys because of where's their value at? I mean, Vele is going to have some value, but it's not going to be a lot. With Singleton, probably not much value, if any at all. He just came off a torn ACL, and he hasn't played in this preseason at all. He's 31 years old, and I think he's making right now right around $7 million a year. I want to say $6.5, $7 million a year. I mean, I don't think any team's jumping at that right now, and so you might as well just follow through with it and keep Singleton on the roster. I agree with Kenny. To Kenny's point, he is an added veteran to this team. Dre Greenlaw hasn't played all preseason long too. You need some stability there at inside linebacker. You're not going to probably get the value that you would want for a guy like Alex Singleton, and to warrant to move off of him right now, I think this team ends up keeping Alex Singleton, at least for this season.
There you go. Paul's keeping up on all the former Broncos. Royce Freeman was trying out for a team. Speaking of former ex-Broncos.
That's rough.
I'm going to go last one. I mentioned it before that Awazarike could possibly be a cut candidate on that bubble. But if John Franklin Myers is still traded, and I think there's value there, that you could at least get some semblance of a draft pick in return, Trevor, then that changes the landscape for Awazarike as well. So just to kind of go full circle, when we was talking about roster bubble, and I said that Awazarike was sitting there that all changes if John Franklin Myers is traded. He's probably one of the more valuable assets that we have. You know, when you talk about compensation versus production, is John Franklin Myers still on the block, I guess you could say. I'll start with Trevor. Don't take too long. I want to get Kenny in there too.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could be on the block. I don't know that they would rush to trade him right now. I think they may want to keep him at least the rest of this year, because it all depends on, is Savion Jones ready to step into that role. Now, if Savion Jones is ready to step into that role, makes moving on from John Franklin Myers a little bit easier. And maybe if they end up moving on from JFM, could this possibly be because maybe he's been a little bit outspoken about his contract issues and not having contract extension already? He's seen all these other guys get extensions, yet he hasn't got one yet. So maybe that might be another reason they could possibly move on from him. I don't think he's causing too much of a chaotic situation right now, but if you wonder if it gets a little chaotic, could they possibly move on from him maybe sooner rather than they thought? At this point, though, I do think they will hold on to John Franklin Myers, at least for the rest of this season, because I do not think Savion Jones is quite ready to take over that position full-time on that defensive line.
Fair. Savion Jones isn't ready, but John Franklin Myers is a heck of an asset. Kenny, do you got any take on this one?
I'm not trading any one of my starters on defense. And the reason is, on paper, you've got to be a top 5 defense. You got a chance to be the top defense in the NFL. It's because of who you got starting. It's not because of who's ready to come in. It's because who's there right now is why you're listed as a top 5 defense with a chance to be the best defense. You want to be a Super Bowl contender, it's going to be because of this defense is going to get you to the Super Bowl. I don't want to move on from anybody yet and worry about future next year. You know, if you can't sign Franklin Myers next year, okay, thank you for your time here. You were a great Bronco. You got us far into the playoffs. You were
He was a reasonably good defensive player for our...
As far as we did. I'm keeping him. I keep off everybody on this defense.
He's keeping everybody. Everybody. It's a potential top 5 defense. John Franklin Myers is a part of it. You might have missed out some, but that's only because I was absorbing it all. And I took it away from you all, man. Kenny Kirkpatrick, big on JFM and keeping this defense together as we keep going. I see one more comment that's come in. I think it's a perfect time to maybe throw up a little bit of the How about Phil McLaughlin, man? We'll do this rapid fire. Is Courtney Jackson making the team or the practice squad, says Phil McLaughlin. Trevor, where's Courtney Jackson? Kind of been a special teamer as well as a wide receiver for this team over the first couple of preseason games. Where does he land?
Yeah, I think he lands in the practice squad, and I think they end up keeping him around. Could be a guy that just because you didn't make the 53-man roster doesn't mean you can't be called up during the season, as the NFL changed that rule a couple years ago. So I think Courtney Jackson ends up making the practice squad.
All right. Another quick one to Kenny Leftwich coming in. JFM for Hendrickson. I think it'll have to get a little bit more valuable on our end for that to happen. Would you consider putting JFM in a trade for Trey Hendrickson? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. That's an easy one. Yeah, absolutely. I do want to give a comment. Michael, 100 more stars. Nick Benito, waiting for Micah Parsons to get paid and Trey Hendrickson to get paid.
Yep.
And then for a hurry up, I did see Phil. Patrick asked one earlier, Keith. I remembered it. He wanted to know if there were any teams out there that may release somebody that the Broncos could be interested in. As a Giant fan, Paul was joking around. Greg Dulcich has stepped up for the Giants in the tight end room. He had a nice tight end.
Kenny,
Jackson Dart seemed to have some chemistry. Sure, would be an upgrade from Lucas Krull, in my opinion. So Daniel Bellinger is a name to keep an eye out if he was to get released. He's not going to make any Pro Bowls, but Daniel Bellinger would be a red zone target and a guy that would block and move the chains for you on short 4 to 5 yard plays. You can set up Daniel Bellinger. He'd be a nice upgrade from Lucas Krull. name to look out for.
Thank goodness you cut out for just a minute, Kenny, and I thought you were suggesting Greg Dulcich back to the Denver Broncos. Thank goodness it's Daniel Bellinger instead.
Yeah, if Dulcich makes the Giants roster, keep an eye out for Daniel Bellinger.
And last one, I see this one coming in for Rodney. I'll give this one to Trevor. Are we built for a Super Bowl run this year?
Well, Rodney, I can't guarantee you anything. And Broncos country can't guarantee you anything. But I will say this, and I was thinking about this today. This is probably the best chance this team has had at making a Super Bowl run since Super Bowl 50. You have a quarterback in place on a rookie contract that has a lot of upside left to be determined. You have a top 5 defense, like Kenny said. Very much so. I've heard that since minicamp. The offense, if the offense can take steps forward in the right direction, this team has a better chance of making a Super Bowl run. If this offense is behind and they don't take the steps up that they need to, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to win a Super Bowl. You got to have a good offense, and you got to get that running game going because teams that make deep playoff runs have a good running game. This team's got to be able to prove that this year.
Kenny, it looks like we are also getting calls for little Jordan Humphreys now to come back since you're talking former Broncos that are now our Giants as well. Good call out, though, Trevor, man. Anything is possible. You know, it's all potential. It's all laid in front of us. We don't know the future, though. But I can say I feel better about this Denver Broncos team, like you, than I have in I don't know how many years. There is that magic back in the Mile High City. It's on the cusp, and you never know what happens. Sprinkle a little magic, especially in the playoffs. Could be making that Super Bowl run. I love it. I love it. Gentlemen, it's been an hour. It's been talking about the roster bubble. We'll be talking more about this 53-man roster here in the very near future. We go live every Tuesday, every Friday as of now. Might be more shows added. And a new rearrangement of schedule as well. So best way to keep in touch with everything that we have going on, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button. We talked about it before. This has been a fantastic episode. We appreciate it a lot, but I got to get some final goodbyes before I get out of here. I'll go with Kenny Kirkpatrick first, man. Before we get out of here, what do you got to say, my friend?
Great show, everybody. Posse nailed it as always. Thank you to the star givers. One more week of preseason. Next following week, the season's here. Broncos have done what a lot of teams pray they can do. Knock on wood. Stay healthy. Don't play any of the starters. No reason to play the starters this week. Go into week 1 at home against Tennessee healthy, and let's get the season going. And let's get that Super Bowl run start in week 1. But until then, see everybody next week. We'll have the cut down day. Trevor and Keith will be back Friday. Can't wait for that. And we'll see everybody soon. All
right. Kenny's going to get his internet all fixed up perfect. No more choppiness. No more dropping out. I'm just giving you a bad time, Kenny. I love giving you a bad time. That means we're friends, man. And hopefully a lot of the posse gets in here and gives you a bad time about your internet as well, because we know they're all our friends as well. Trevor, what do you got to say to our friends, our posse members, before we get out of here, man?
Well, first of all, my lights are staying on, so that's a great sign. We're there.
Briggsy was with all 3 of us tonight.
Yeah, and we had Keith's losing signs too. I mean, we've just been a whirlwind of everything. Kenny's got internet issues, which is, hey, we've all been there. He's got signs coming down, and got lights coming on, so we've all been there. But it's been a great night, and hope everybody really enjoyed, whether you're watching live or after the fact. And the season's almost here. I think that we will see starters in the 3rd preseason game, as we didn't see any in game 2. So looking forward to seeing that. Looking forward to seeing this, especially this first team offense get back on the field and going into the right direction before we hit the regular season. So can't wait for cut down day as well. Can't wait to break it down with everybody. But we'll see everybody next time. Hope everybody has a great weekend, or great week, I should say. Don't want to push it too much. Great week. And we'll see you guys next time. Be safe out there. And as always, go Broncos.
Man, mile high salute. Go Broncos. Yes, let's have a good week before we get into the weekend. Don't start the weekend too early, man. Boss will be mad. Boss will be mad if you start the weekend too early. But it feels like a weekend every time we're in here talking Broncos with, well, a couple of amazing co-hosts, Trevor, Kenny. Appreciate you guys. And, of course, the posse, man. Absolutely rocked it tonight, man. I wish I could have got to more comments. Glenn Ashley, I see you're coming in here. dropping comments and giving Kenny some bad time about his Knicks as well. But man, everybody, Karen, it was so great to see you back in the fold, man. It seems like it's been too long. Mr. Phil McLaughlin, Mr. Michael Ronquillo, thank you for so much for the stars, man. Really do appreciate it. It means a ton to us. I'm telling you, it really does help us keep plugging along like we have. Look back, man, we passed our 3rd-year anniversary as DVR, man, in June. So that's something to be said, and we appreciate you all. You're all a part of it. You're the ones who have brought us all here. That being said, man, yeah, that is the score behind me. That was a fantastic score. Karen's coming in here and asking a question, but we got to get out of here. We want you to all have a fantastic week. We are going to be back here on Friday. We're going to be diving into that New Orleans Saints game and the starters getting the start and what we need to look for and who we need to see and all of that, man. It's been a fantastic episode, but we got to get out of here. Like I said, one way only. Make sure you keep those boots in the stirrups, guns in the holsters, and of course, Denver Broncos in your heart. Until next time, we're out of here. Have a great night, everybody. Appreciate you so much.